So I want to talk about 3 points that I don't think the average person is going to be aware of regarding this alleged border crisis we have in the southern part of our country. And this whole wall thing, which really is getting really old. So number 1, let's start with the fact that the people who are fleeing these countries are fleeing extreme violence. They're not just looking for a job. They're certainly not trying to commit an informal invasion. They're fleeing extreme violence. And I did some research on Honduras for an asylum case, and it made me realize I don't want to do asylum cases because you can't sleep at night. You can't read about young girls being forced to join a gang where they will be gang raped as part of the initiation and forced to do things they don't believe in, because if they don't, their family will be tortured and killed in front of them. And they can't go to the police. I know, let's go to the police. Why don't we do that? No, you can't do that. Because the police are run by the cartels. And in fact, I believe it was in 2017, the U.S. government, the Congress, had a bill passed that stopped funding to Honduras because the government was so corrupt. And the police had effectively become the nationalized army, or vice versa, the nationalized army became the police. And they were just killing teenagers for no reason, among other bad things they were doing. So this is the environment these people are leaving. So they're not coming here because they want to take away your jobs. They just want to be able to live. And they want their children to live without being tortured or raped or anything like that. I get it. Some of you don't care. We are not great humanitarians in this country. We do not have a good, solid history of being good humanitarians. And we certainly don't do a good job of taking care of our own. That's another video. So if your response is, I don't care, well, that makes you an evil person and you are going to hell. But let's move on to the next point. And the next point is that we as a country have a legal obligation to other countries to hear asylum cases and, when warranted, grant asylum. We are not just doing this out of the goodwill of our hearts, because in the United States, we are not a people of goodwill. We are not. But we do have legal obligations. So we are not abiding by those obligations when we plan to build a wall and not let anyone in. We cannot do that. I know what you're thinking. We're so powerful, we don't have to listen to anyone else. Well, there are these 2 countries called Russia and China, and they're pretty darn big, and they could whoop our butts if they wanted to. You don't want the rest of the world siding with them. In fact, you just don't want the whole of Europe siding against us. Everyone can fall, so don't be so haughty. Okay, and the third point that I want to make is that you are so concerned about these people invading us in the South, coming across the border. And there are people coming across the border outside of entry points when they're not supposed to. It does happen. But in my experience practicing immigration, and in what I've seen in other people's experience, many, if not most, cases of people who are here with undocumented immigration status, meaning that if you say, produce your paper showing me how you can stay here legally, they can't do it, they're undocumented, they came here legally. They just stayed longer than they were supposed to. And do you know who in the government is checking on those people? Who is checking when someone comes on a tourist visa from another country, comes here? Do you know who is checking to see and make sure they leave on time? Do you know who it is? Nobody. It's nobody. The wall's not going to help. They're already here. Nobody. That's who it is. The guy in North Raleigh from Russia who allegedly had done some bad Russian things against the U.S. government and then put a hit on someone because they had an affair with his wife. He flew here on a plane, people. He's from Russia. And the planes don't let you get on unless you can prove you have a right to come into the country. So he didn't sneak in. He flew here. The wall wouldn't help. So those are the points I want to make to you. Number 1, these people are fleeing extreme violence. That's a whole nother topic, a different video. But if you happen to be a person who actually cares about other people, please let that sink in. You can Google it. There are lots of resources out there on Google, and I'm not talking, please don't look at all the crazy websites run by people who don't even have high school degrees. Look at legitimate sources like PBS, nationally recognized, world-renowned sources, people that have had experiences there, that have actually gone there, that aren't just making things up in their crazy heads, okay? Look at those things. Remember that even if you don't care about other people, we have legal obligations to other countries to hear and grant asylum when warranted. And number 3, a wall is not going to keep people out who came in here legally and just overstayed. Why, in the age of NSA spying on us, thank you Edward Snowden for letting us know, and in the age where Google knows what I'm going to purchase and start stockpiling it so it's ready the next time I order it, why in this day and age can we not keep track of people who come in here on a visa and make sure that they leave on time unless they have a legal right to continue staying for some reason? Why can't we do that? Nobody's asking that question. I mean, not amongst Trump supporters anyway. And it wouldn't cost nearly as much as a wall. Now, later we'll get into the issue of taking care of our own and what that money for the wall could be doing. But that's another story. So right now, just remember, people fleeing extreme violence, legal obligation to grant asylum when warranted, and people overstaying, no one's checking in on them. So keep those things in mind, and until next time, try to do some analytical thinking. Bye.